Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped, back for another Optc video, and in today's video, we're doing a bit of a tier list video, or a bit of a ranking video on the ships in Optc Global. And in today's video, I'm going to give each ship a ranking out of 10 based on 3 different things: power, special, usability. All 3 of those particular attributes, in my opinion, come down to value of the ship and how much you will get extra use out of them. Now, when it comes to the free-to-play ships, I am not really going to rank them in my top 5. I will be giving a top 5 at the end of the video, but I'll also be giving a top 3 on the free-to-play ships that you can pick up from the Rayleigh's Bazaar. All the ships that you guys can get from the forest, I'm not going to rank. Obviously, I'm going to give them a ranking out of 10, but I'm not going to rank them in terms of which ones are better than others, because you can pick them all up whenever you guys like. With the paid ships, however, though, they are always going to trump, and I am going to give my top 5, which I think are the best to sort of pick up. And yeah, with that, let's dive into it. So, first of all, let's talk about how we actually get our hands on these particular ships. So, if we head over to Extra Islands, there is a little tab that says Unlockable Quests. What you guys can actually do with these unlockable quests, you can actually sift through and you can actually click on Unlock with 30 gems, and that will unlock a quest for you guys to actually get your hands on these particular ships. Now, all these particular ships come with a mission attached to them, and if you are going to be doing these missions, I would highly recommend running something like Double Chopper, or even running something like Double Buggy. Before you hop in though, I would check the rewards. Most of the time it's better to be running Double Chopper than it is Double Buggy, mainly because you don't want to get the dupe drops of something like, if we just click, oh, okay, no, we can't do that. We just basically don't want to get dupe drops of something like those feasts, which you just have hundreds of. Guaranteeing the extra drops of the plus 100 cotton candies is guaranteed, and with 2 choppers, you can get like plus 300 cotton candy, and that's just like maxing out, like, used to be like maxing out 3 units, and it's going to get you closer to maxing those characters. Now, for new players, it's going to help you guys out a lot, because you can get stuff like tomes from these events as well as stuff like skill books as well. But let's hop over to the shipyard, and let's take a look at the ship. So, let's start at the beginning. Way at the beginning with the first ship that we get at the very start. Wow, there's a lot of ships. Alright, so the first ship is the Dinghy. It boosts HP by 1.3, boosts Captain's Recovery by 120, and makes it slightly easier to hit perfects. Nothing too flash. You probably never use this ship after the very beginning of the game. 1 out of 10. On to the next ship now, we have the Merry Go. The nostalgia of the Merry Go. This ship's actually still used every now and again, to be honest. It boosts attack by 1.5, HP by 3, Captain's HP by 300, and makes it slightly easier to hit perfects. So if you're coming up against that debuff that makes it harder to hit perfects, you can actually run this and it makes it easier. There are better options, but the ship's still actually used. So for that, 4 out of 10. On to the next ship now, we've got the Navy ship. It boosts HP by 1.5 and attack of shooters by 100. Very similar to the Dinghy, you're never going to use this ship. 1 out of 10. The next ship is the Bariate. It boosts Captain's HP by 2,000, and that's about it. Nothing too flash. 2 out of 10, just because it's the Bariate. Onto the Coffin Boat now. This is the first ship that you attain from the forest. So you attain this from the Mihawk Forest. It boosts Slash's character's attack and HP by 1.5, which is actually really good. HP by 1.5 is really nice, but it reduces Captain's Recovery by 700, which is kind of a bummer. 3 out of 10, purely because there's better Slasher ships. We're going to talk about them later. Onto the Miss Love Duck. The Miss Love Duck is the Alvita ship. You can pick this up from the Rayleigh shop. It boosts the attack of strikers by 1.5, increases the chance of landing on their own orb, and increases their base attack by 100, and reduces damage taken by 10%. It's not bad. Reducing base attack by 100 is actually pretty good. Increasing the chance of landing on orbs is great, and reducing damage by 10% is actually really nice too. The downside is it's only for strikers, but it's a pretty good striker ship, to be honest, and you can just pick it up for free. So, for that, I guess I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. I mean, I can see myself using this ship when it comes to striker teams. But, strikers aren't that great. So, for that, honestly, I want to give it a 6. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. That's actually pretty good. On to the next ship, we've got the Going Merry flying model. Very similar to the Going Merry. It gives, only gives 1.2 times attack, which kind of sucks. And recovers 350 HP at the end of the turn. So, that's pretty dookie. 2 out of 10. Nah, 1 out of 10. On to the next ship now, the Moby Dick. You pick this up from the Whitebeard Forest, so a free-to-play ship. it's actually still used quite a bit, especially in those higher tier forest runs. Boost attack by 1.5, HP by 1.4, which is massive, but reduces your HP by 50% at the start of the quest. Now, this can be really good for stuff like Super Type Kaido, Super Type Katakuri, and all those characters where you need to get low HP, or characters that have a lot of healing to get their HP back up to take advantage of the 1.4 times HP. 7 out of 10. Pretty good free-to-play ship. One of the best free-to-play ships in the game. Onto the big top now. This ship was designed for buggy. Boost attack of characters with 40 costs or less by 1.5 and HP by 1.4. The downside is whenever you're running buggy as your captain, like, it's always easy content, so the ship doesn't really matter. But otherwise, it's not terrible. 3 out of 10. You can pick this ship up from the Rayleigh shop too. Onto the Bezan Black, another Rayleigh shop ship. This ship is the Kuro ship. It reduces cooldowns by 1 turn at the start of the fight. Boost attack of quick characters by 1.5 and their HP by 1.3. Not terrible for quick teams, mainly because it gives cooldowns at the start of the fight. 4 out of 10. I want to change my Going Merry, by the way. Going Merry should have been a 5 out of 10. ErKa's Bicycle, another ship that you guys get from a forest. You get this from the ErKa forest, obviously. This ship was great for V1 Neko, but isn't really used that much anymore. Boost attack and HP of strikers by 1.5, which is massive. Greatly reduces the appearance of recovery orbs, though. So it was really only good for Neko. That's all it was really used for. Nowadays, you're never going to use it. That Alvita ship is just way better. 3 out of 10. Onto the next ship, we have the Striker, which is Ace's ship, or the Ace Forest ship. Boost the attack of shooters by 1.5, HP by 1.3, reduces their cooldown by 1 at the start of the fight. So, not that bad. Getting that 1 turn of cooldown is actually pretty nice, but there are some better shooter ships. So for that, 3 out of 10. Onto the next ship, we have the Thousand Sunny, the first ship we're going to talk about that actually has a special. Boosts the attack by 1.5 and does 50,000 damage in non-type damage to all enemies after a 15 turns. So, not bad. Pretty cool that it has a special, but it's pretty stock standard. 3 out of 10. Onto the next ship, we have the Dreadnought Saber. Now, this is the first ship we're going to talk about that I would highly recommend picking up from the Rayleigh's Bazaar. This is in my top 3 best ships from Rayleigh's Bazaar. Honestly, I kind of want to put Miss Love Duck there. I just sort of glanced over her. This ship will boost your HP by 1.5 and deals 10,000 damage at the end of turn. So, no attack boost whatsoever, which sucks. But this particular ship, this way, is very, very good at getting around resilience. So, you've got a lot of resilience-based content. This particular ship actually works really, really nicely. And for that, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. On to the next ship now, we've got the Kuja Pirate ship. Another ship that has a special. You pick this up from the Kuja Pirate Forest, obviously when you take on Boa. It's designed for free spirits, giving them a 1.5 times attack boost, 1.35 times HP, but it will drastically reduce HP if you have non-free spirit units on the team. It'll heal 6,500 HP after 15 turns, and this particular ship is really only good for zombie teams nowadays, as free spirits just have way, way, way better options, and for that, 4 out of 10. Onto the Arc Maxim now, another ship that has a special. This was Enel's ship. You get this from Enel's Forest, so it's another free-to-play ship. Quickens eye characters attack by 1.5, HP by 1.2, and it deals 56,560 damage to all enemies after 17 turns. Basically, like, a little bit of a better version of the Going Merry if you're running Quick and Sire, but really not that much better in any regard. So for that, 3 out of 10. Onto the Red Force, my boy Shanks' ship. You get this from the Redhead Pirates Forest. It boosts cerebral characters attack by 1.5, HP by 1.35, increases the chance of landing on matching orbs for cerebral characters. So it's a cerebral ship. Unfortunately for this ship, there are way better options for cerebrals nowadays, but once upon a time it was quite good. Nowadays, not so much. 4 out of 10. Only because it increases the chance of landing on matching orbs. It gives a bit of a bigger HP buff as well, which is actually quite nice. On to the next ships now. We're going to talk about the Sun Pirate ship. It boosts the attack of HP of fighters by up to HP and attack by up to 1.5, depending on how many fighters you have on the team. So full fighter teams, 1.5 attack, 1.5 times HP, which isn't too bad, but it will drastically reduce the attack and HP of all other classes. So you really need to make sure you have fighters on the team. Otherwise, you're going to lose a lot of attack. And because it's so restrictive, I just don't ever run it, to be honest. 3 out of 10. It should be a 4, but because it's quite restrictive, it's just going to hit a 3 for me. Onto the Donkonox pirate ship. This is based around driven characters, and you can pick this up for beating Dofi in his forest. Boost driven characters attack by 1.5, HP by 1.35, makes it easier to hit perfects for driven characters, and has a special to add 0.2 to the chain multiplier for 2 turns. So, not a bad ship, and I actually still use this ship a lot when it comes to mono-driven based teams. Any ship that makes it easy to hit perfects is always really, really nice, and for that, 6 out of 10. Onto another ship that you can pick up from the, what's it called? You can pick this ship up from the Rayleigh's Bazaar, and this ship was great for powerhouse teams when they were running Riot once upon a time. Boosts the attack of powerhouse characters by 1.55, so a little bit of an extra attack boost, but will drastically reduce the HP of all other classes. So you can actually use this as another zombie team, as it also heals at the end of turn depending on the number of powerhouse characters in your crew. So the more powerhouse characters you have, the more healing you get, and after 17 turns, you can just do non-type damage to all enemies. So you just get free damage, which is actually a little bit nice as well, but you're never really going to use this for powerhouse, but it is a good free-to-play option, I guess, if you don't have stuff like the Zuniche and some of the other ships we're going to talk about later. So I guess you could easily pick this ship up if you're looking for zombie teams, but otherwise it's really not used that much. 5 out of 10. Moby Dick Paramount War version we're not going to talk about because it's an event ship. Gotta say that artwork is incredible. It's just awesome. The next ship is Garb's Battleship. Now, this ship's another ship you guys can get from the Rayleigh's Bazaar. Strength, Psi characters attack by 1.5, HP by 1.25. Strength and Psi have a lot of good synergy, and for that, 4 out of 10, but they're just better options, to be honest. The next ship is the Polar Tang. You get this by beating Law in his forest. Boosts slashes and free spirits by 1.5, HP by 1.25, and makes it easier for them to land perfects. If you are under very, very low HP, it can heal 10,000 of your HP as well. If you get that, it's pretty clutch, but it's pretty, like, it's very, you don't really get that special much. And if you do, it works great, but there's not a lot of situations where you actually put yourself in to actually get that healing. But because it's a slasher and a free spirit ship, it is actually really, really nice. There is a better version, but for free to play, this ship's actually pretty good. 6 out of 10. The Thousand Sunny Coated Vessel is exactly the same as the Thousand Sunny, except it has a different special. 1.5 times attack to the crew, and halves damage taken for 1 turn after 16 turns. This is actually really useful. Really, really useful, and definitely grab it. You get it for beating the Fishman Island arc in the story mode. I give it a 6 out of 10 purely because of its special. Halving damage is great if you can't find a spot for a damage reduction character, but there are a lot better characters in the game that can actually do that for you nowadays, but this ship's a really good option if you guys are struggling. Onto the Kizaru's Arrival Cannonball, the Saboity entrance. It will boost shooter characters by 1.55, HP by 1.2, and reduces their cooldowns by 2 turns. So it's just a better version of Ace's Striker, but it is a shooter-based ship. It does have a special that reduces all enemies' HP by 7%. Unfortunately, it's not like end of turn HP cut, which would have been way, way better. If that was like a HP cut for 3 turns at the end of turn, which would have been so nice. But if you are running shooter teams, this ship is usually your go-to. There are some better ships if it does like work for your team. But if we're talking just pure shooter teams, this particular ship can see some play for speed farming if you're using stuff like Kizaru characters. It was designed for V1 Kizaru, but when V2 Kizaru comes out, this ship will probably make a little bit more of a resurgence if you are making shooter teams. And for that, I'm going to give it 5 out of 10. Onto another ship you pick up from Rayleigh's Bazaar, the Mr. Luffy Go Bardo ship. Boosts striker characters attack by 1.5, HP by 1.2, and if you have 6 strikers on the team, reduces the cooldown by 1 turn at the start of the fight. So, another striker ship. The downside is strikers aren't that crash hot at the minute, but it is a really good option if you are running a mono striker team. It does drastically reduce the damage over 10,000 as its special as well, so it has a really nice special, but it is on a 17 turn cooldown. So it can actually see some play if you are running striker teams, but the downside is running striker teams, and for that, 6 out of 10. On to the next ship now. We're going to talk about the Thriller Bark. Just basically boosts dex and in characters. 1.5 times attack, 1.25 HP. Nothing too crash hot, very similar to the Garb ship, but for dex and int, 4 out of 10. The Karamasu is a event ship you pick up for Usopp. It just basically delays 1 turn. You can't really get it. You might be able to get it from the Rayleigh's Bazaar, but if you can, it's like a 2 out of 10, so don't even worry about it. Anniversary ship we're going to skip. Moving on to the Flying Dutchman, another ship that I would definitely pick up from the Rayleigh's Bazaar if you are looking for an XP-based ship. It will, it's very good as like quality of life. It boosts attack and XP gained by 1.5, and has a special to reduce all enemies' defense by 25% for 1 turn. This is kind of good because you can actually get conditional boosts off with this. The reduction of the defense isn't massive, but getting the conditional boost is really nice. 7 out of 10. Onto Blackbeard's ship, you pick this up from the Blackbeard Forest. Nothing too crash hot as it was designed for V1 Blackbeard. HP by 1.25, reduces cooldown by 1 turn at the start of the fight. Attack by 1.55, provided you have a striker, shooter, fighter, or slasher on the crew. So obviously built for V1 Blackbeard. It's not really used that much anymore, but it's still pretty good when you can get it to work. 5 out of 10. Alright, on to the final ship that I would recommend picking up from the Rayleigh's Bazaar is the Revolutionary Army Blackbirds. This ship was designed for V1 Lucy and is still very, very good. When I say V1 Lucy, I guess it's the only Lucy, but still pretty good for strength, dex, and quick teams. 1.2 times HP, reduces cooldowns by 1 turn at the start of the fight, and gives a 1.55 times attack to strength, dex, and quick, provided you only have strength, dex, and quick characters on the team. So, very, very good for strength, dex, and quick teams. There is a little bit of a better version in my opinion, but is a lot more restrictive. This particular variation doesn't really have that many restrictions besides strength, dex, and quick, but obviously there are teams that do that, and there are sort of, you don't need strength, dex, and quick. Oh, so you need to have, sorry, you do need to have a strength, dex, and quick character in your crew for this to work. So it is quite restrictive, actually. But for that, I do give it a 6 out of 10 because it does have good speed farming and it does have good damage. Alright, on to some of the 30 gem ships now. We have the Zunisha. The Zunisha is amazing. Really, really good ship and it's aged like fine wine. Cerebral and Powerhouse booster by 1.55. HP by 1.25, makes TND and recovery orbs beneficial and makes it much easier to land hit perfects. A very, very, very good ship. There are some really better options for Cerebrals, but Powerhouse, this ship is like the go-to ship. It works really, really well. 8 out of 10. On to the next ship now is the Sexy Foxy. You pick this up from Rayleigh's Bazaar. It doubles belly gained, 1.5 times attack and XP by 1.2. You can pick it up if you need extra belly, but like, only do it if you've got an abundance of Rayleigh points and you just don't really give a rat's ass, or you really like Foxy for whatever reason. Other than that, it's not really used that much. 4 out of 10. The next ship is Laboon. He was an event ship. We're not going to talk about him. I give him 11 out of 10 just because it's Laboon. 11 out of 10. I'm not going to bother. You guys get the gist. Moving on to the V1 Nostra Castello now. Boost attack by 1.55, 1.3 times HP. Makes it a little bit easier to hit perfects. Cuts the current HP of all enemies by 3% at the end of turn. But if you have slashes, free spirits, or powerhouse on the crew, drastically reduces your crew's attack. That last part just ruins this ship. This ship would be so good. It would be like the perfect way to get around resilience because it cuts the HP at the end of turn. And otherwise it would be really good, but that restriction at the end just makes it a little bit dookie. And for that, I give it a 3 out of 10. This ship should be like easy at 7, but look, it is what it is. When it works, 7, but like, you just forget about it because you don't ever check that you ever have these restrictions. On to the next ship now, we have the Queen Mama Shanta, the ship you get from the Big Mom Forest. Boost the chance of landing on matching orbs, HP by 1.25, and if your captain is driven or powerhouse, boost the attack of strength, dex, and quick characters by 1.5, and after hitting 3 consecutive perfects, you get a 1.65 times attack boost. Very, very strong. One of my favorite ships in the game if I am running driven and powerhouse teams, provided you are satisfying the strength, dex, and quicks, requirements. But that 1.65 times attack is absolutely monstrous. And for stuff like V1 Big Mom, Versa Kainu, all of those types of characters, even stuff like Versa Kaido, this ship can work really, really well. And it's like my favorite free-to-play ship. 7 out of 10. Onto the German 66 ship. Now, this ship you pick up for 30 gems. If you have all 5 colors on the crew, reduces cooldowns by 2 turns at the start of the fight, which is great. Boosts the attack of all characters by 1.55, HP by 1.25, makes it slightly easier to hit perfects. And if you have a TND or recovery orb, you get an extra 1.1 times attack, which gives you a total of 1.705 times, which is massive. Really, really good. Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention the Mama Shanta also gives a recovery orb on the bottom right-hand corner. Every 6 turns. So that is really, really nice. Getting that recovery slot guaranteed is just absolutely clutch. But for the German 66 ship, it's very, very good if you have 5 every color, but you're never doing that anymore unless you're running like Arlong crew, and there's just a better ship for Arlong anyway. You can sort of use this for Jumanji, or you could use this for Magellan, but no one ever really runs them anymore. But when this ship definitely works, it is very, very good. I give it a 6 out of 10 when it works, but very rare you have all colors on the team, and because of that, I want to give it a 4. Onto the host ship now. Now, this ship I do believe is the most valuable ship in the game. Hands down. 1 turn of cooldown, boost pirate XP by 1.75, no restrictions whatsoever, boost cruise attack by 1.5, amazing, amazing ship. Heals crew by 3,500 at the end of 2 turns. Really, really good ship. And if you are a new player and you're looking to buy one ship and one ship only, this is the ship you would be picking up. Definitely pick this ship up. The whale that belongs to King Neptune of the Ryoiin Kingdom is the ship you want to look for. It is very, very good. I give it 10 out of 10. Amazing ship. Like, the only way it could be better is if it had more damage output or had a HP buff. I guess if you really want to get narky with me and not say that it's perfect, 9.5 out of 10. I'm just giving it a 10 purely because I do think it's the most valuable ship in the game. And that's why it gets my 10 out of 10 vote. Purely because it is the pinnacle of what I believe most people should be picking up when it comes to ships. On to the next ship now. Magello, another top 5 ship. HP by 1.25 if your captain is Sile Int. Boost the attack of all characters by 1.5. And boost your captain's recovery by 200. Reduces damage by 10% and has a special to lock orbs after 8 turns. This ship is absolutely incredible. Like, really, really, really good. I actually really, really enjoy running this ship, and you can abuse that locking mechanic so often. The 10% damage reduction is great, and that extra 200 recovery is very underrated. 9.5 out of 10. Onto the Piece of Spadile now. The Piece of Spadile is Ace's ship. Boosts Powerhouse, Free Spirit, and Fighters by 1.2. Attack by 1.5. And boost their attack by approximately 1.6 if your HP is 30% or below. So, pretty good for Powerhouses, Free Spirit teams, and stuff like that. It came out around the time of Clash Ace, and it was a free-to-play ship, but nowadays it's pretty hard to get your hands on. It's still very good, but, like, there's just better options. 5 out of 10. Actually, I give it 6 out of 10. Now, the koi ship I recently just picked up. I actually picked it up to record a video, but totally stuffed it up, and so I had to restart. So, here we are. So, the koi ship boosts quick and in characters by 1.5, HP by 1.2, makes recovery orbs beneficial, and if HP is full, gives a 1.6 times attack instead. You can abuse this with the overheal mechanic that Shiri can provide. The problem is it only boosts quick and int characters. So, when, like, Marco comes out, this is kind of good, because you can, like, abuse the overheal mechanic. But other than that, like, there's no real situation where you really want to be using this ship, purely because it's a quick and int-based ship, and you have to sort of abide by that, and that sort of sucks. 5 out of 10. The Grudge Dolph, the Hawkins ship you get from the Hawkins Forest. This ship is definitely not worth the amount of pain it takes to get through that Hawkins Forest, by the way. Reduces cooldowns by 1 turn at the start of the fight, boosts slashes and strikers HP by 1.25, HP attack by 1.6, and if you have a rainbow, matching, or Wano orb. If you don't have those orbs, it's a 1.5 times attack, but it also restores 1000 HP at the end of turn. So, it does a lot. The downside is strikers and slashes don't have that much synergy, so that kind of sucks. It was sort of designed for stuff like Luffy and Zoro, but it can work really, really well with characters like Odin, and can also work really, really well with something like Shirahoshi characters, as most Shirahoshis are strikers. But it's not used that often, but mainly because the Victoria Punk's a thing. But it can still season play purely because it gets 1000 HP at the end of turn. 6 out of 10. Onto the Going Merry Farewell, gets like a 20 out of 10 for me. It's an event ship, we're not going to talk about it, but that artwork has to be admired. It is absolutely stunning, and it's a very, very sad scene, but very, very powerful scene, and I just really enjoy having this ship. The Shark Superb, another amazing ship if your captain is Strength, Dex, or Quick. Boost the attack of 2 times, reduces cooldowns by 1 turn, and makes perfects easier to hit. Decreases, so the koi ship also has a special, but I don't know what it is because I've never used it. I guess we could look it up. It heals, the koi ship heals 5000 HP and adds 0.5 to the chain multiplier for 1 turn on 11 turn cooldown. So it actually has a pretty good special, but still, don't change my ranking. The Shark Superb, yeah, so if your captain is Strength, Dex, or Quick, boost the attack by 2 times, reduces cooldown of all characters by 1, at the start of the fight, makes perfects easy to hit, but it decreases the attack after every single turn. So the longer the fight goes, the weaker it gets. It does stop at 1.3 times, however, after 10 turns, but it is an amazing ship for Kazuna. It's very, very good for speed farming content, and I enjoyed it a lot. 7.5 out of 10. On to the next ship now, the Victoria Punk, the last free-to-play ship that we will be talking about. You get this particular ship from the Kid Forest, and it is actually pretty good. It will boost the HP of 1.2, slightly increase the rate of landing on T&D orbs, and if your captain is Strength or Dex, boost the attack of the crew by 1.55. If you have a T&D Bomb, Wano, or Super Bomb slot, boost their attack by 1.65 instead. It also has a special as well, which will... I actually can't remember what the special is. Reduces the duration of all enemies' barriers by 1 turn. So you can actually remove barriers by 1 turn with the special. It's pretty niche, but kind of cool when you can actually get it to work. But the fact that you can get that extra damage output for stuff like Luffy and Zoro, Odin, Legend Kid, all of those characters make this particular ship very handy, and in my opinion, it is the best free-to-play ship that you can get your hands on. It's great for stuff like Verse Kaido as well, and for that reason, I give it a 7 out of 10. That and like the Moby Dick are like the most valuable in my opinion, or the most used. Moving on to the Liberal Hind now, 30 gem ship, very, very good. Reduces cooldowns by 1 turn at the start of the fight, boosts Captain's recovery by 500, restores 1000 HP at the end of turn. If your captain is Free Spirit, Slasher, or Cerebral, boost the attack by 1.6, and if you have 6 Psy characters, adds an extra 0.1 to their attack. So, very, very strong if you're running mono Psy teams, provided you have Free Spirit, Slashers, and Cerebrals as your captain. Very easy to do. There's a lot of very, very good units. It's amazing for stuff like Roger, amazing stuff for Super Type Boa, amazing for the Straw Hat Legends. Any Psy character that comes out with these tags are very, very good. But any character that has these tags as their captain is always going to see this ship. This is my most used ship, and just falls short of the Ho in terms of value. I give it a 9.5 out of 10, purely because it's restriction on Free Spirit, Slashes, and Cerebrals. That's the only reason I have to give it a 9.5. Otherwise, this would be a 10 out of 10, easy peasy. Moving on to the Nostra Costello amphibious craft. Now, this particular ship is actually really, really good, and I actually use this ship a lot more than I thought I was actually ever going to. Reduces cooldowns by 1 turn at the start of the fight, boosts the attack of Strength, Psi, and in characters by 1.55, HP by 1.4, and if you're at full HP or 30% below, boost the attack of Strength, Psi, and in characters by 1.7. Now, Strength, Psi, and in all have very, very good synergy. Like, really, really good synergy. And I actually really enjoy using this ship whenever I can. I actually give it an 8 out of 10, and this particular ship just scrapes into the top 5 for me. But in terms of value, it does struggle for one big reason. But we will talk about that when we talk about the top 5. The last ship we're going to talk about is the Oro Jackson. Now, the Oro Jackson... Oh, something about the Liberal Hind that we didn't talk about too is the Liberal Hind actually gives cooldowns to Psy characters after 8 turns. I don't know if I mentioned that, but it makes it very, very good. The Oro Jackson, the final ship, Goldie Rogers' ship, one of the best ships in the game. The only downside to this particular ship is for Free Spirit and Slasher characters. It reduces all characters' cooldowns by 1, boosts the fighter, Slasher and Free Spirit characters' attack by 1.6, HP by 1.3, and makes their recovery and T&D orbs beneficial. It also makes it much easier to land on perfects, very similar to the Zenisha, and restores 1000 HP at the end of the turn. This particular ship is amazing. If it didn't have the restriction on Free Spirit and Slashes, it would be so much better. But obviously, it can't literally tick every single box. It also has a special that reduces 2 turns of paralysis after 9 turns, so that makes it very, very good. And for that reason, I give it a 9 out of 10. I don't think it's as good as the Liberal Hind, but it's very, very close. Now, before we talk about the top 5 in terms of the 30 gem ships, I'm going to quickly touch on the free-to-play ships that you pick up from Rayleigh's shop and tell you which ones that I think are the most worth. So, the Revolutionary Army Black Crows is definitely worth. The Flying Dutchman is definitely worth it. And so is the Dreadnought Saber. Those 3 ships are the ones that I'd be picking up from the Rayleigh's Bazaar. And if you really want to, if you're a big if you're a big Foxy fanboy or you need belly, you could pick up the Sexy Foxy as well instead of maybe the Flying Dutchman. You get a little bit less XP, but you can build up belly a lot quicker while also getting a little bit of a buff to XP. Alright, talking about the top 5 most valuable ships from the 30 gem events. Now, I am ranking these on 3 big things: usability, power, and restrictions. That's the sort of the big 3. Power includes specials, includes their attack, includes what they basically do. Their usability or restrictions is based around like how often you're going to use this, and value is just sort of everything, really. So, number 5 for me. Well, but first, I do want to give an honorable mention to the Shark Superb. The Shark Superb's amazing. I would have it in the top 5 if there wasn't, like, other ships I wanted to talk about. Yeah, and if there wasn't other ships I wanted to talk about. And for that reason, I'm just going to give an honorable mention. If you guys love going hard on Kazuna, I would definitely pick this ship up. But it's only really used in niche situations of speed farming in Kazuna. And for that reason, I'm just going to give it an honorable mention. Coming in at... Wait, I have to count now. Hang on. Yeah. Coming in at number 5 for me is the Zunisha. The Zunisha is still what has aged so well. Cerebrals and Powerhouses have had lots of very good representation. You get matching orbs. It's very easy to hit your perfects. You have a good HP buff. You have a good attack buff. There's not much else to say about this ship, but it's just very, very good. Very, very good. The next ship I do think that comes in at number 4 on the most valuable list is the Magello. The Magello is amazing. I really, really like the Magello. However, it is restricted to Psy and in captains, but that's all you need. It's great for doing stuff like the Hawkins Forest. It's got really, really good damage reduction. The recovery is really, really nice too, and it also gives a nice attack buff. The downside is, for this particular ship, is you just need your captain to be Psy or int, and because of that, I am going to put it at 4th. It has a pretty good special. It's got good damage, and it's got good utility. I would definitely pick it up if you're looking for a 30 gem ship, if you have the next 3 that we are going to talk about. Coming in at 3rd on the most powerful and most usable / valuable ships is Goldie Rogers Aura Jackson. Now, this ship is the strongest ship in my opinion. The only reason it comes 3rd is it's not the most valuable ship. It has great when you're running free spirits. It's great when you're running slashes or a combination of the two. Obviously, with Roger and Odin coming out, it was very, very good. Amazing special, reducing 2 turns of paralysis is absolutely phenomenal. Heals, makes it easy to hit perfects, gives you recovery and matching tandem orbs, has a very good attack boost, has a very good HP boost. If you're running free spirits and slashes, this ship is the ship you're going to be using. Straight up. The only reason I put the Liberal Hind in front of it, however, is because it is not as restrictive. Plus, you can get more damage. Now, I do believe that Psy is the strongest color in the game. Honestly, like, on both versions, I think Psy is the strongest. They have Goldie Roger, which is arguably the strongest character in the game. This ship gives you cooldowns. It's great utility to get around the special reverse. It can get around Fear, which is awesome. If you have 6 Psy characters, you can do a lot of damage. The only downside is you need your captain to be Cerebral, Slasher, or Free Spirit. The upside to that is you don't have to run Mono Psy. You can still run this ship with those classes on your captain. So for Sugar, for the Christmas waifus, any Cerebral character, you can use this particular ship if you're not using the Zunisha already. You could run this on any slashes-based team or free spirit team, but as your leader, and then not having free spirits and slashes on the team. But if you are running free spirits and slashes, I would use the Aura Jackson. I only put this a little bit higher because it is more usable, and I use this ship the most out of any ship in the game. The number 1 ship, however, I do believe is the Ho ship. If you're looking for a ship to buy and you only have 30 gems, you only want to spend 30 gems on a ship, this is the ship that you should be buying. You get Pirate XP 1.75, you get a 1-turn cooldown at the start of the fight, 1.5 times attack, healing on the special. Very, very good. The only downside is you don't get a HP buff, which kind of sucks, but other than that, this ship is perfect. Like, for new players, this ship is absolutely perfect. For people that have some better box, like utility, sure, maybe have a look at some of those other ships, but the Ho ship, you can literally just put onto any team. You need 1 turn of cooldown, this is the ship to go for. It's great for treasure map, it's great for every bit of content in the game. It helps you guys get pirate levels up very, very quickly, and it has healing. So, that's pretty much all I need to say about that. But, that's going to wrap up today's video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure to go down there and belt the like button for me, and if you're new to the channel, hit that big red subscribe button too. But guys, wherever you are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, I thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Later!